Alright, what is up my dudes? Welcome to this video where I discuss my method for 6-starring new monsters. In this video I'm going to cover fodder, buying fodder from the shop, buying 4-star Rainbow Mon from the guild shop, feeding monsters to upgrade fodder, Rainbow Mon, how I get them. I'm going to cover XP boosts and how I use them, how I use the Dimensional Rift and Dimensional Crystals, rep monsters and my strategy there, which stage I find best to farm in, and then any other miscellaneous tips for 6-starring. I hope you'll enjoy. Let's get started. Alright, so fodder is the first thing we're going to go over, and this tip is pretty simple. It involves using the magic shop, and basically you want to always buy these silver 2-star fodder from the shop. If you're shop refreshing, if you're just existing, hey, cool, I'll take that. If you're just, whatever it is, anytime that your shop refreshes, you want to buy these 2-star fodder from the shop. Obviously, I've only bought maybe one here, but, there you are. And that's what I mean. These, you don't want to buy necessarily, let's see if I can get an example here. You don't want to buy these, right? Because you can see right there, they're twice as expensive. But the 2-star silver fodder, they're always going to help. You're always going to need a bunch of fodder, and this is the most crucial part of 6-starring things fast, and it's the easiest tip. So even if this is the only tip you take, definitely it's going to help you a lot. So the next tip is the 4-star Rainbow Mon from the guild shop. You should be buying these every week first. It's the first thing you spend your guild points on. They're super crucial if you're looking to get more 6-stars. And that's it. That's the, simple tip right there, but it refreshes every week. They're 150 guild points. And next is feeding monsters to themselves to kind of save space and upgrade your fodder. I always summon my normal scrolls, but I also do my social summons. I'm maxed out right now. So what I do when I'm maxed out is basically my strategy is I feed 1-star monsters to 1-star monsters, because you can see to feed 5 1-star monsters to this 1-star is 750. But if I were to feed them to a 2-star, it goes up to 1,500, and that just keeps going up and up and up. So if I were to be feeding to, this 4-star, it's 3,000. And I get it. It's not that much mana, but it is more mana efficient to feed, to themselves. And I try not feed to his family to skill up just because it saves a little time and I get annoyed by the skill ups. But basically all my 1-stars get fed to other 1-stars. And then once I have enough, I power them up. As you can see, these were 1-stars and now they're powered up into 2-stars. I use 2-stars to power up 2-star max Rainbow Mon, 3-stars to power up 3-star max Rainbow Mon, so on and so forth. But basically, I'm continually upgrading all the monsters in my box to, consolidate. If I run out of room, I stuff stuff in storage. But basically, you always want as much fodder as you can, and we'll talk about how you level that fodder and what you do with these 2-stars and what you do to continue to do that. But that quick tip is I don't feed 1-stars to anything but 1-stars because it saves mana and it's a really quick way to get rid of them and get them out. Rainbow Mon, as you can see, I have a few here. How do I get these Rainbow Mon? Never feed Rainbow Mon to themselves like that. Don't do that. How I get my Rainbow Mon is mainly farming, mostly the B10 dungeons. I also do rifts and raid. Raid gives a lot comparatively, but if you're running out of Rainbow Mon, these 3-star rainbows, which is what you need ideally to progress fast, the main way to get them is to just farm faster, farm more often, farm longer. And if you're way short on them, then you're probably not farming enough, and you're probably not at a stage to like 6-star 1 monster a week or anything if you can't get the Rainbow Mon there. There's ways around it. We'll talk about that using the Dimensional Rift and when we actually start getting into XP. But ideally you want the majority, if not all, of your 4-stars to come from Rainbow Mon that you're going to be feeding for 6-stars. So the main way to do that is just farm more. Raid, B10 dungeons, whatever you're doing, you get Rainbow Mon by playing the game. And all right, and then the last tip, kind of regarding Rainbow Mon, but basically about fodder in general, is if you're spending more than 1 day a week outside of farming like raid or dungeons or actually like working on hardcore progress, then you're actually going to slow down your progress. You're going to slow down your account, and it's not worth it. Basically take a step back. You know, 1 6-star week might not be the pace that you're able to go at, and that's fine. If you do it once every 2 weeks, if you do it once every whatever, wait until you have the fodder saved up, wait till you have the rainbow mons, then pop your XP boost and go ham on leveling everything outside, you know, for 1 day, and then go back into your farming, go back into farming your B10s for runes. All right, so how do I actually level my fodder? Generally, you never want to farm scenario, dimensional crystals, any kind of XP unless you have a double XP popped. It's a huge waste of time. You get tons of double XPs, especially if you're 6-starring stuff. So never do anything that gives you never do anything specifically for XP unless you have a double XP popped. Beyond that, you have the dimensional rift, which I use. It's not the most efficient place, but I think it helps a ton with time. And my main priority in the dimensional rift is to reduce huge XP grinds on monsters. So I find I get really bored if I'm just hitting the replay button over and over and over and over and over again. And this could be opposite for you. It depends on your playtime, your attention span, what you're doing. But if I'm just constantly hitting that replay button and never switching monsters out, never leveling things up, never foddering things, it makes me lose motivation. So what I do is I get my big XP grinds out of the way. So I'm not doing it right now. That's actually one thing I'll go over first. Dimensional crystals. You see, I have 12 out of 10 right now, and I have none in my box. So tomorrow I'm going to have 3 more dimensional crystals. So tomorrow is actually the day I'm going to pop my double XP boost. And what that's going to do is basically give me 15 dimensional crystals to run with double XP, which is the most you can get. Dimensional crystals give tons of XP, tons of mana, and they use a ton of energy. So I typically wait till I have 15 total. You can do it at 12, you can do it kind of whenever you want, but 15 is the most efficient way to do it with the double XP boost. And then what I'll do is I'll level things that need, big XP grinds. Like if I'm freshly leveling things up, I throw all those in, they get a huge amount of XP, and you only, you have to run the dimensional crystals a few times, but then basically you're going to be maxing stuff out. Beyond that, so that's where I'll get my 4 stars that I need to max. If I don't have enough Rainbow Mon, I will be leveling the 4 stars to max 4 stars in the Dimensional Rift. That's the main place that I would do that. Put these fodder monsters in. Let's say these are the 2 that I needed to level up. Throw a farmer in there. Throw some 2 stars in there, and run it. As far as other monsters, if you're leveling 3 stars in here, I usually do 2 or 3 runs, and if I'm doing 2 stars, I only put them in for 1 run. If you're patient enough, the ideal scenario is that you don't max any monsters in the Dimensional Rift, because when you max it, you're actually wasting XP, whereas if you finish it off in a scenario, you're wasting much less XP. So my strategy is basically I level high to low. So if I need 4-star maxes, I'll level them in here. If I need extra 3 stars to then turn into 4 stars to level up my 4 stars, I'll throw them in here. If I just need a bunch of stuff to pop into my 3-star Rainbow Mon, I'll just level 2 stars. But I use the Dimensional Rift to get a big, bulky grind of the XP out of the way. And then I try and be as patient as possible and not finish anything off in here. I bring it to scenario afterward and finish it off. So, which stage do I farm in? I usually do Feynman 1 on Hell when I'm using reps, because this is a pretty easy stage. A lot of my reps are set up to do it when I am not farming. So basically how you do it, you throw your rep monster in there, you throw 3 monsters in there that need XP, start the battle, rinse and repeat. Reps are really efficient because you're not wasting any XP. Your rep monster doesn't count as a monster, so the full XP of the stage is actually split between the 3 monsters when you're using a rep, as opposed to when you're using some kind of farmer in there. I usually use Asthma for mine, but it's whatever. But once I'm out of reps and I have to use my own farmer, I know they can clear Aiden really well, which is where I go. And I usually do Aiden 1, I think, yeah. Maybe Aiden 1. Sure. I do Aiden 1, and I do that a lot. And it's good XP. Before I could do any of that, actually, and this isn't the most efficient tip, if you're farming here, you're not going to be able to do a 6-star a week, and I would recommend not spending more than a day here, like I said before. But Tamor 3, this stage is the easiest stage in the world. I know I'm on normal, but even on Hell, just a Vermos can clear this stage, or I would clear it with my Sig, and I'd get 1-minute runs, and it would be okay XP, and that was the stage I did. So if you're early game, Tamor, Feynman is the most common one. That's where I use all my reps. It's really easy to clear. It has really fast runs. And then Aiden is a little bit more efficient, but a little bit slower, a little bit more monotonous. And that's the other stage that I do for this. All right, so one more thing on the rep monsters is sometimes a lot of people do this. I don't, because I'm not that efficient, but a lot of people wait and pop their XP boost on either side of the reset. So if they have a 12-hour XP boost, they make sure that it, maybe it's like 3 or 4 hours before reset, up to 6 hours before reset. But the point is basically they grind through all their rep monsters down here, and then it resets and resets the rep monsters, and they can use them all again. And that's really nice and efficient, especially if you have a lot of good reps. I don't do it, but it's a good tip if you want that. And then the other thing that I do sometimes is if I've just 6-starred something that can clear. Let's pretend Juno had any kind of ability to clear. She doesn't. Then instead of using a rep, I could just use Juno because I'm not wasting any XP by throwing all of these in here, because they're all going to get XP, and it's efficient to do it that way too. So if the last 6-star you made was something that it can actually clear, even if it's a little slow, it's worth it sometimes to level it up that way. Put it in there, or you don't even have to do fodder every time. You can have a rep monster in there, and then, hey, wherever she went, Juno, here she is. Like, if I wanted to do this is acceptable as well. As long as you're either using a rep or you're using something. So some miscellaneous tips and other things that you can keep in mind regarding 6-starring and that might help you with this video. 6-starring monsters is about momentum and consistency. If you farm consistently, you buy fodder, you use XP boost, you'll have more 6-stars than if you don't. If you follow the tips in this video, they'll help you. If there's some that don't apply to you, some that you can't follow, there's others you like. Regardless, if you're putting effort into 6-starring, it'll happen. You'll have more than you wouldn't have if you didn't follow any of these tips. 6-stars aren't everything. Don't waste days and days and days farming in scenario. If you're struggling to 6-star something, just by like farming the B10s, you get Rainbow Mon, you get the fodder, you get the things you need. Go back to the dungeons, run B10s. It's no big deal. Runes are the most important thing in this game. So if you find yourself focusing too much on summoning or 6-starring or, anything other than farming runes, then take a step back, and no matter what, you got to have runes before everything else. So if you're struggling with 6-starring, go back, farm B10s, get more runes, and then go back and try and 6-star again and build the momentum. And then finally, find a way that works for you, right? Pick a pacing, pick a method that fits your play style, and then stick to it and do the things, that you want to do. Don't do things that you hate. Don't just take tips from me or from Reddit or, from people that, don't apply to you and ruin your fun. The most, efficient path might not be your play style. And the important thing is that you're able to have fun and you're able to, log in and play and grind and be consistent, and that you have the information you need to make informed choices. So, reading guides, watching videos, that's great. You get all the information you need, but pick the path that's going to work for you best. Final thoughts. Thank you guys for tuning into the video. I hope it helps some of you. If I missed anything, or if you have any tips or feedback that you think would help people trying to get 6-stars fast, I'll do my best to make it, as visible for people as possible. If you share them, shoot us a comment. Whatever, and I will make sure to either edit the video, leave an annotation, or just, pin it in the comments. But basically, this is my way of 6-starring stuff. I know everyone does it differently. There's going to be a written version of this guide on Reddit that I will link in the video description if that is an easier format for people to absorb, and I will see you guys next time.